I'll welcome everyone to this City Commission meeting for September the 1st. We're meeting at 6 p.m. in the Municipal and Safety Building, and with that, I will call this meeting to order and ask that Pastor Glen Layfield come and lead us in our invocation. If you'll all please stand.
Almighty God, thank you for the opportunity that we have to see this city at work. Pray for each of the servants who are here tonight. Pray for each of the community members that there will be wisdom, that there will be direction, there will be guidance from you. We pray that the needs of this city will be considered and met, that the business that is before us will be considered wisely, handled in a way that is appropriate. Father, we pray that you will continue to bless this city, help us to be a shining light in this part of the country and to the whole world of what it means to govern well, to live well, and to follow your path. It's in Jesus' name we ask these things. Amen.
Amen. If you'll turn and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, your first order of business is the consideration of the approval of the minutes for the City Commission meeting held on Thursday, August 18th.
So moved.
The motion. Second. We have a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Thank you, Commission. Your next order of business is proclamations, resolutions, and presentations.
Proclamation is recognizing Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Come on. We'll let JT panic for a minute. I'm sorry. Whereas suicide is one of the most disruptive and tragic events a family and a community can experience. And with more than 1,100 lives lost in Tennessee each year and an estimated 25 attempted suicides for each suicide death. And whereas suicide is the 9th leading cause of all deaths in Tennessee, the 2nd leading cause of death amongst youth ages 10 to 14 and young adults ages 25 to 34, and the 3rd leading cause for teenagers and young adults ages 15 to 24. And whereas more than 3 lives a day are lost to suicide in Tennessee, which means 21 Tennesseans are lost each week and 97 each month. Whereas Tennessee veterans, active duty military, and National Guardsmen face a disproportionate risk as compared to the general population, with more dying from suicide than combat. And whereas public awareness of this tragic problem is the key to preventing further suffering and loss of life, and the risk of human self-destruction can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment. Whereas Tennessee is a national leader in the effort to prevent suicide, being one of the first states to develop a suicide prevention and evaluation plan covering the lifespan. And whereas suicide prevention has been declared a state priority by the governor, and the Tennessee legislature has declared teen suicide prevention as a state priority in partnership with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network to implement the Tennessee Strategy for Suicide Prevention. And whereas the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network is a grassroots collaboration of Tennesseans and organizations working to eliminate the stigma of suicide, educate the community about the warning signs of suicide, and ultimately reduce the rate of suicide in our state. And whereas every member of the community should understand that through life's struggles, we all need occasional reminders that we are all silently fighting our own battles. And whereas we encourage all Tennesseans to take time to inquire as to the wellness of their family and friends, to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate, and to remember the simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way to helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, I, Joe Wise, the mayor of Johnson City, do hereby proclaim September 2022 Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Thank you. We appreciate your support, and all of our commissioners, thank you for always supporting us throughout the years. This is such a very tragic way for someone's life to end, and it's so important that we talk about it, and most of all, that we be educated and know what the warning signs are. We can help save lives. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
The next proclamation is Hunger Action Month.
Thank you. Come on down, Ms. Breeze. Whereas in Northeast Tennessee, an average of 15.3% of people struggle with hunger in our 8-county region, and 1 in every 6 children do not know where their next meal will come from. And whereas the coronavirus pandemic has had a devastating health and economic impacts across the country, and it is estimated that there are approximately 80,000 people facing hunger in Northeast Tennessee in the wake of the pandemic. And whereas the City of Johnson City recognizes that hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern for Northeast Tennessee and remains committed to providing steps to combat hunger in every part of our community and to provide additional resources to those in the city in need. Whereas the Second Harvest Food Bank, a local member of the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks, has distributed more than 13.3 million pounds of food, or over 11 million meals, in 2021 through a network of food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. Whereas more than 45,000 individuals in Northeast Tennessee rely on food provided by members of the Second Harvest Food Bank monthly. And whereas the City of Johnson City is proud to work with the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northeast Tennessee in educating people about the role and importance of food banks in addressing hunger and raising awareness of the need to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. And whereas the month of September has been designated Hunger Action Month in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities and to engage the public in action, including volunteer shifts, social media shares, and donations to end hunger one helping at a time. Whereas food banks across the country, including the members of the Second Harvest Food Bank, will throughout the month promote on social media ways to bring awareness and help end hunger in our local community. Now, therefore, I, Joe Wise, the mayor of Johnson City, do proclaim September 2022 Hunger Action Month. And I'll present you with that, Mr. Reese. Thank you.
We just want to say thank you so much, Second Harvest Food Bank. They do good all throughout the year. They're always in need of volunteers and people to donate. But like the mayor said, this month is really about getting the word out, to let people know there are people in our region that are food insecure. And we couldn't do it without the support of the community and the wonderful support of Johnson City that helps us get the word out to everybody. So thank you guys so much for your support. And we will continue to fight against hunger as, you know, with you as our partner. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next order of business is a recognition. I'm going to invite Director Tom Witherspoon to come forward. A recognition of our wastewater treatment plant awards. And we will be recognizing employees throughout our wastewater treatment facility.
Mayor, Commissioners, Ms. Ball, the staff threatened me, based on sporting events tonight, that if I showed up with a long PowerPoint, my tires would be flat. So we have one slide. I'd like to introduce the staff that's here tonight. Jeff Quarters on the left-hand side. Jeff is Water and Wastewater Superintendent. Tim Profit is our Water and Wastewater Maintenance Superintendent. Aaron Mullins, Chief Wastewater Operator for Jeff. Nick Street is the Knob Creek Wastewater Plant Operator 3. Christian Montgomery, Regional Wastewater Plant Operator 3. John Hack, who's the Brush Creek Operator 3, was unable to be here tonight because he had a prior commitment. But they've brought to you 5 awards. 3 of those are national awards from the National Association of Clean Water Agencies, and we'll talk a little bit more about those in just a minute. 2 are from the Kentucky-Tennessee Water Environment Association. Those 2 are for the regional plant and the Knob Creek plant, so a total of 5. As the commission knows, and they've heard previously, we have 3 wastewater plants. The oldest phase of one of them dates back to 1957. That's the Brush Creek plant at the lower portion of the screen. It's had a number of renovations since then. The second oldest plant dates back to 1971. That's the Knob Creek plant. It's had a couple of renovations since then. And then the regional plant was originally built in 1977, and we've had a major renovation around 2010. But the basis of the awards are compliance. So the Brush Creek plant got a silver award for great compliance this year. The Knob Creek plant from NACWA had 8 years of continuous compliance. There were only 14 other plants nationally that were recognized at that level. But the regional plant still has 12 years of 100% compliance with their discharge limit. Only 3 systems in that category nationally were recognized besides our plant. The operators would be the first to tell you that they can't do their job without folks that are doing system maintenance outside the gates of the plant and the fence line, but also maintenance inside the fence line of the plant. And that's where Mr. Profit comes in. I stuck this slide in there. So most people think about when we're doing maintenance that we're changing oil and using screwdrivers and we're doing wrenches. And we are. But the maintenance can be as significant. The Knob Creek plant has flow that's pumped up in it through 3 screw pumps. And Tim told me before we got in here that screw pump weighed 7 tons, correct? We replaced it. That's a $250,000 piece of equipment. The tolerance when we set it had to be within 1/4 of an inch. And so in addition to using wrenches and screwdrivers and changing oil, we also do that type of maintenance, and that's an outstanding piece of work that we have that capacity with staff. So on all the plants, they've treated more than 5 billion gallons for calendar year 2021. We've run over 33,000 tests and control tests to make sure the wastewater's adequate to recycle back into their streams. All 4 of these folks, Tim doesn't have to have one, have the highest grade of state operator's license, grade 4 for wastewater. I think all of them would tell you that that's not an easy test to pass, quite challenging. Mr. Corder and Mr. Mullins are both ETSU graduates, so local university. And I have to give Jeff a lot of credit. If you go back and look at the pictures where we brought similar awards previously, you'll see a different group of faces. And he's had to deal with retirements from about 3 of his key individuals. And fortunately, we've been able to either promote people up or bring people in from the outside, and we're glad to have those folks on board. So, y'all want to say anything? All right.
Mr. Witherspoon, I would like to say something. Congratulations to the employees. You know, when I first came out of the commission and learning about water and sewer services, in fact, going out to the wastewater treatment plants is one of our favorite things to do, isn't it, Commission? But the quality of employees that we have and the capability of the employees we have is something that we really need to recognize, particularly as the nation looks at a place like Mississippi and what's going on down there. And I think our citizens can really feel good with the fact that the city of Johnson City has kept up with maintenance and upgrades in our system over all the years. And I know that a big part of your work is the upgrades and as we call it, future-ready infrastructure. So thank you so much for everything that every person in the department does, and particularly for y'all gentlemen for the work that you've been doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. You'll watch the game?
Thank you, Tom. Commission, the next order of business is the consideration of a number of beer license permits. The first one, item 5.1, is to consider a beer license application for Juniper Restaurant at 1033 West Oakland Avenue, Johnson City, Tennessee.
If you'll
Good
give your name
evening.
and, give your name and address, please.
Matty McGee, 4128 Ranch Road, Johnson City.
Have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in the city?
Yes.
And do you agree to abide by them?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there questions for the applicant? Without objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. Would you like to tell us about your establishment?
Sure, we're a family-owned restaurant. We are modern American, focusing on regional and seasonal cuisine, and looking forward to adding a new restaurant to the already awesome restaurant scene in Johnson City.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You want to tell people where you're located?
1033 West Oakland Avenue, Knob Creek, right next to Off Leash Social, which is also a new business in that area. It's an area that has had some land that hasn't been used for a while, so we're starting to really utilize it, and we're looking forward to all the development that's going on over there, and the widening of the roads, which is awesome. So we're very excited about North Johnson City.
And when do you expect to open?
We are opening in 2 weeks. The 13th is our first opening week. We went reservations only, and we sold out within 12 hours for 5 days, from Tuesday to Saturday. So we're so excited that the community has been following us on this long journey for about 3 years. So we're ready to open.
Congratulations. Good
Thank you
luck.
so much. Thank you. Have a great night.
Commissioners, your next item for consideration is a beer license application for Holy Shirts and Pants. It is located at also known as Spring Street Sandwich Company, located at 100 Spring Street, Johnson City, Tennessee.
If you'll give your name and address, please.
I'm Elizabeth Kiker, 115 Clark Drive.
And have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in the city of Johnson City?
I have.
And do you agree to abide by them?
I do.
That's the important thing.
Yes.
So now do we have a motion?
I'll move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. So tell us about the Spring Street Sandwich Company.
So we've been open for dine-in since July 13th. We do all Boar's Head products. We have several different breads to choose from. We make a lot of our sides and sauces in-house, and we plan on being one of the new late-night food options as well downtown.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5.3, Commissioners, is consideration of a beer license application for Italian Pizza Pub, located at 807 West Walnut Street, Johnson City, Tennessee.
You're back.
Hello. I thought I was retired, but it doesn't look like.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Bert Cordamiri. The address 6 Fairway Lane, Johnson City, Tennessee.
And have you read the rules and regulations?
Yes, sir.
And do you agree to abide by them?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. Tell us about your venture.
Okay. I started a business since 1982, so I had it for 40 years. And I was trying to retire last year. I sold it, but the guy who bought it couldn't handle it, so he asked me to come back again. So I'm going to reopen it and start the business. So,
Well, we wish you well. When do you plan to open?
hopefully in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, good luck and best
Thank you so much.
wishes. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Commission, the next item for consideration is item 5.4, consider a beer license application for Mr. Patel Hair at 2015, located at 801 South Roan Street, Johnson City, Tennessee.
If you'll give your name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Amish Patel. The store address is 801 South Roan Street, Johnson City.
And my first question is, have you read the rules and regulations concerning the
Yes.
sale of alcohol in the city of Johnson City?
Oh, yes.
And do you agree to abide by them?
Yes, sir.
Right answers on both questions. We need a motion.
Move approval.
Move approval. Second?
Second.
And motion and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. So tell us about your business.
Okay, this is existing business I just bought before a couple weeks ago. And I ordered the new register and everything. So there is a all system like scan the ID and everything. So
Well, we wish you well. Congratulations on your new venture.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, your next order of business is item 5.5, to consider the approval of a temporary occasion license for Atlantic Ale House, 218 West Holston Avenue, Johnson City, Tennessee.
Hello,
Your name and address, please.
my name is Jenny Lockmiller, and I'm one of the owners of the Ale House, and I live at 301 West Holston.
Thank you. Have you read the, I know this, but I mean, have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in the city of
I
Johnson
might be
City?
able to quote them to you if you ask me
Okay.
to, but yes, I have.
And do you agree to abide by them?
Yes, I do.
All right. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. So tell us about your temporary occasion.
Sure, we are partnering with the Science Hill High School Reunion Committee. They are doing a Science Hill multi-year reunion in King Commons on September 23rd. And they're going to have a band out in front of the Ale House, and it just seemed logical for us to partner with them, so we're going to provide beer.
Well, we wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next order of business is item 5.6, to consider approval of dispensing equipment endorsement to Class 1 on-premise beer license issued to Bergen Barrel, located at 330 Cherry Street, Johnson City, Tennessee.
Rock, paper, scissors. Hey, guys, how are you all?
Good.
Hey, there's a
I
slide
feel like we
here
already
we're
asked him
told-
if he knew the rules about serving alcohol in the city.
Only inside, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Is that the one she has?
Do you?
Okay. Okay, so I believe there was a couple slides that we sent in, several different pictures. Not sure if there's more on here or not, but anyway, this is an area for Burger and Barrel, but outside we kind of nicknamed the area Gather, that kind of, thank you. Oh, okay, good, thank you, appreciate that. So, yeah, so, but basically, you know, we just call it the patio the Gather, which kind of takes homage to the gathering of the depot over the years for the train depot. And so this was what we had talked about, which is installed now, the self-serving pour system. And so basically patrons just come in and there'll be an ambassador here to kind of watch things. They register in with that section there on the orange sign, and they basically get ID'd, they get banded, and they'll get a card, and which allows them I believe up to 32 ounces of beer, so they can pour like 1 ounce at a time, or 16 ounces for a liter, and then they come back and do it again, and if they want another one, then it stops them, and it won't allow them to pour anymore. It's digital.
and the flow meter, which as you can see, kind of like they're on the little screens. And so they can see what they're getting, and then, so what happens is they have to, the person of approval like sees them, checks them, and then make sure that they're not drunk or anything like that, and then they can give them another 16 ounces at a time. So, pretty cool little system, hopefully.
So I have a question for
Yes, sir.
you. Have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in the
I have.
city? And do you agree to abide by them?
I do.
I knew you did, because we asked you that before.
Sure.
But we need a motion to take action.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second.
Thank you all.
I will say, I've done some personal research on this subject and observed an establishment that was working a model like that in South Carolina, and it was South Carolina, right? I think my initial thought was I didn't understand how this was going to work, but it's probably more controlled than if you were relying purely on people.
It really is.
Because it's very much mechanized. So with that, if there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Y'all
you all.
have done a
Thank
ton of
you.
work down there.
Thank you. Yeah, we've tried to hopefully make a nice place, as most restaurateurs do, for our citizens to relax and our tourism. And I want to thank everybody in the city and the planning department. It's been some challenges through all this new, this is new for us too, this particular design. So thank everybody.
So what are
for the
your
city.
hours now?
Well, right now, we're still trying to gather more staff, but right now it's dinner 4:30 to 9:30 on weekdays and 10:30 on weekends. And then we hope to open for lunch just as soon as we build a
But
little more staff.
4:30 every day is the opening?
For right now.
Okay.
And then we'll try to get going for lunchtime sometime here real soon. And then of course, the winter, the outside will shut down. So.
Great. Well, good luck.
And then grand opening, by the way, I just got reminded, was everybody's invited. It's it's the 4 p.m. next on the 7th. And so we're going to have a little get together. So everybody
Thank
that'd
you.
like to come. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Thanks a lot. See you there.
Commissioners, your next order of business is consideration of a temporary road closure request for Science Hill High School class of 1970.
Good evening. Science Hill High School class of 1970 has requested a soft closure of King Street and McClure Street as outlined in the provided site plan from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday, September 23rd for their reunion. Special Events Committee has reviewed the application and we would recommend approval.
Do we have questions for staff?
I will be more than happy to make that motion to approve.
We have a motion.
I do believe, and I see one of the organizers back there that may want to give a little bit of detail about it, but I think it's for even more than just the class of 1970. Is that correct?
Yes,
Come
we're
on.
inviting all Science Hill alum to join us downtown. I grew up here in Johnson City, born and raised, and downtown was the place to go when I was a little girl. Mother would dress all four of us girls up and we'd go downtown shopping, but after my high school years, downtown just went down horribly. And I'm so proud of what all has been done. I want everybody to see it. And people will go, oh, I'm afraid to go downtown. I said, no, you have to come see this. It's beautiful. So that's when I got the idea, and I talked to Jenny, and she said, I think that's a great idea. So I'm hoping that we will get people that have not seen downtown in years to come see what has been done, because it is amazing. It is beautiful. And Lynn and I go every Friday to the music. We don't miss it unless we have to leave because it rains. But this is what we sent out to people. I'll just read it to you. Friday, September 23rd, 6 p.m. until about 10, downtown Johnson City at King Commons. Enjoy live music of Ivy Road. Bring your own picnic or dine from multiple food trucks and local restaurants. Sip unique brews from Ale House. Mostly talk with your classmates. Your kids, grandkids, and dogs are all welcome. I think that
great.
pretty much says it, don't you?
Well, we brought the principal of science of the school system back here to really give you a good welcome, and you need to personally invite him to come.
Yes, you have to come, and are you going to put it on the school calendar out so everybody can see? I want you to do that. Because, I'm not real I'm pretty good for my age, tech savvy, but I'm not like everybody is now.
I think you pulled all this together. That's pretty good.
Well, I'm so excited. I just can't wait for them to see. I think and you compare the Tri-Cities, nobody has a green space but us. We're the only city, not Bristol, not Kingsport. We have the
Show it off.
prettiest. Yeah, we're going to show off.
Well, good luck. We
Thank
wish
you.
you well. So we need a motion to.
I made a motion.
We made a motion and a second. And had we called the roll on that already?
We have not.
Okay, we need to call the roll.
Commissioner
It's not official
Brock.
yet.
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter.
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy.
Yes.
Mayor Wise.
Yes. So
All right.
congratulations.
And thank you for all your help with us doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
And I've been communicating with Jenny Lockmiller, so I've had a lot of help.
You're in good hands.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioners, your next order of business is consideration of the consent agenda.
And I know Commissioner Murphy likes to go first. So I'll call on Commissioner Murphy. Do you have any items you would like to pull?
You know, I knew you were gonna call me first, and I'm well prepared. 7.2.3 and 7.4.1.
Okay. Commissioner Hunter,
No, Mayor.
Commissioner Brock.
Yes, I'm going to call 7.1.1, and then 7.1.7 through 10. I think we'll just get a summary of our CDBG projects.
Okay, so we'll maybe do them in order. The first one for Commissioner Brock is consider approval of proposal from PMA Management as workman's comp. Ms. Baker?
Yeah.
Commissioner Brock, what is your question?
Well, my question is just kind of a high-level view. You know, workers' comp is a big thing in organizations that have a lot of physical work, and you know, we're kind of a high-risk organization too, because of the kind of jobs our people do. But maybe just a thumbnail sketch about our workers' comp experience here in the city, and then the coverage that we're approving tonight.
All right. The contract for consideration is for our third-party claims administration. PMA Companies has been providing that service to us since 2002, when we went fully self-insured. Prior to that time, well, originally we were in a fully insured program, then went to a self-insured retention program, which resulted in some cost savings, but the greatest cost savings were provided in 2002 when we went fully self-insured, and then went with PMA as our partner for third-party claims administration. They provide for us preferred provider plans, so we get discounts with their providers. They have a pharmacy program, which also provides a great deal of savings to us, and they do a great job of managing our claims. We budget about $1.5 million for workers' compensation each year that covers reserves. I don't know if you're aware or not, but when a serious injury occurs that results in an impairment, that employee has medical benefits for life. So we have to budget accordingly to cover those expenditures. But we have realized a great deal of savings by going fully self-insured. The greatest impact on saving money for us, of course, is to invest in safety and safety equipment for our employees, and our departments have done a great job of that as well.
Thank you.
Are there other questions for Ms. Baker? If not, thank you.
Thanks.
The next are the CDBG items, numbers 7 through 10.
And I
Looks like-
think our Assistant City Manager, Randy Trivets, coming up.
And I'll introduce Mr. Wise.
Perfect.
Yes, we were glad you kind of pulled this, because this gives a good opportunity to introduce Wayne Lyons II. He is our new communication, or community development coordinator. I guess that's what the title is. And he's been working very hard. He just started August 12th or 15th. August the 15th. See, I'm getting all this information from him. And he's been getting his feet under him to understand when the transfer occurred between the housing authority back to the city. And so he's the one who developed a list today of all those grants, of all the recipients who will be receiving those. I'm glad he's here tonight so I can introduce him, and I'll let him answer any questions that you may have or give you a review or an update of the projects. Thank you.
Well, I'll just state my question, maybe so that the public can understand as well, that these funds, CDBG funds, come through the federal government, I guess, through the state of Tennessee to us. And it's money that we can use to help people with home renovations and even some new build for lower income citizens. And it's money that we really try to put to very, very good use. We do that sometimes through, I guess, partner agencies as well. So what we're being asked to approve tonight is the distribution of those funds for this coming year. And if you could just kind of tell us what the citizens are going to get for that money, that would be really helpful.
Sure. We have 4 organizations that we're partnering with this year. They're Appalachian Service Project, Holston Habitat for Humanity, Eastern 8 CDC, and First Tennessee Development District. All those organizations all help to provide low-income housing or renovations, emergency repairs, or reconstructions for people who fall below 80% of the poverty line, or the medium household income. So most of those organizations help people that are below 30% of that line. And out of the contracts this year, we have Appalachian Service Project is constructing 3 new homes for their contract. And then they're also doing home rehabilitations for somewhere between 4 to 6 homes, depending on the cost of the repairs. Then First Tennessee Development District is building or reconstructing 2 different homes. In First Tennessee Development District, they're the ones that they really do a lot of the emergency repairs or reconstructions. The other ones more or less build new homes on property. But these people are actually referred to by city staff for the most part. Our codes department will go out, if there's a home that's in poor condition, they'll go out and assess it, and then they'll refer them to First Tennessee Development District if the people meet the qualifications to actually receive that funding and that assistance. So the 2 houses that they have planned for this upcoming year are actually both referrals from our codes department inside the city. Eastern 8 has 1 home that they're planning on constructing that is back here behind the Langston Center. There's actually 3 lots there, and 2 out of 3 are planning on being built this year by some of these organizations using these funds. And Habitat for Humanity is the last one on our list here, and they're also constructing the other lot on East Myrtle. And all of these are going to go towards different families, some of which are actually, I think 2 of them are single mothers with children that are all in school and everything. So it's going to go towards a great cause, and we're looking forward to actually working with these organizations and helping make sure they have the proper funding going forward.
Thank you very much. That was a really good report, and welcome aboard to this new job. We look forward to all the great work you're going to be doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
The next item pulled is 7.2.3 Neptune Technology Group, water and fire service meter. Commissioner Murphy, what questions do you have?
Yes, sir. I understand this seems to be a contract for entity to provide all meters, like a lump sum of meters, correct?
Only meters in this size. This represents only about 5% of the meters that we put in on an annual basis. Most of the rest of them are 5/8, 1 inch.
Question I had was more related to the supply chain, lead times. Is the supplier able to meet any commitments we may have to install?
We have a number of meters in inventory.
Okay.
So we try to reorder and rebid at the point so that that inventory doesn't drop excessively low. The indications are that they can provide in a timely manner.
Okay.
Having said that, that could be a totally different answer in 2 weeks from now. I hope it's not, but that is still an issue with a number of the products that we get from suppliers.
Okay. But you're saying there's typically always a backup
Yes, sir.
part?
We're always having inventory, so.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next item is pull item 7.4.1, Dun and Metz appraisal. It's a right-of-way appraisal for the railroad underpass. Mr. Trivett, what questions do you have?
So my question was more so related to the overall project. I know this is a change order and just kind of brought it back into public eye. So what's
Correct.
up with the overall project? If you can
Okay.
provide anything.
Well, the overall project is the overpass that's on Knob Creek. This started back in 2016 with the appraisals and the engineering that began. Working with CSX Railroad and their right-of-way property, became some delays because of bridge design there and how that bridge design had to go through their engineering firms to be approved, and they were a lot of back and forth with that design coming back into play. And so there's been a lot of time passed since those appraisals were done, so that's the purpose of this change order, is they're gonna have to kind of start back again with the way the market's changed already doing those. And the change orders for $5,200, basically, $5,276. But the overall scope of the project is that we're getting very, very close. Once we get these right-of-ways obtained and we get, we get all those things in place, and the engineering is nearly finished on this design, then the state will take over the management of this project and the construction, including the cost of all of that that's associated with this. So right now, the big delay in getting the construction started is getting all the right-of-ways purchased and getting the design completed.
What do you project as to a date we can start?
Well, I'd be
Based on your
very,
experience.
very afraid to do that based on how long, if we were dealing with private property or private businesses, you could probably put a better date on that, but when you start dealing with a company as large as CSX Railroad, there's always some delays that could come into play and some things that's happening. And plus, then when we go into TDOT, we're going to be working on their schedule as this starts. But I really hope that we can finish up, the goal is to finish up all the right-of-way appraisals and acquisitions by the first of the year, and then get the drawings and everything finished so that we can get this turned over to TDOT in 2023, and then get on their schedule of how they can start managing it and get it out to bid and get the construction going. I wish I could tell you how long it would take after that, but it's a complicated project. I've done another project very, very similar to this in another community, and it took about 6 years to get from start to finish, to get everything finished once we got it turned over to TDOT.
I was going to say, we've already been 6 years.
Yeah, but this was once we turned it over to TDOT. It took about 6 years.
Are there other questions for Mr. Trivett?
I do. Mr. Trivett, we approved the improvements of Knob Creek and then West Mountain View Road.
Correct.
And some of that work has already started, is that correct?
That is correct. Some of the work's already begun, widening on both sides of the intersection of Knob Creek and State of Franklin.
Are they working on a bridge down there or something at that time?
Finished the bridge at
Did
Knob
they
Creek.
finish?
At Knob
Actually,
Creek.
somebody gave me a compliment, said that y'all did a great job with
Yeah.
that.
So they're working on that, and a lot of that is on in-house work.
Right.
And so we have a lot of really good crews that work in-house that can do that type of work. And Public Works is doing a really good job at that, even being shorthanded. They're down a construction team or a construction crew, and so they're trying to juggle and do everything that's required of them and everything that's going on in a timely manner, but it's difficult when you're shorthanded.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
and if
Trivett.
you have any more specific questions about the actual construction, Mr. Andy Best is here and could probably answer some of those if you need any.
I don't think so. Thank
That's
you.
good. Thanks.
That's all we have pulled from the consent agenda, but I also should note that Dr. Barnett, the Director of Schools, is here, and I would hate to deprive him of the opportunity to come and just let us know how the school year has started out. And I don't think anyone's pulling the Chromebook item, but if you want to talk about it, I would invite you to do so.
Thank you.
And thank you all for your support of the school system. We're up about 200 students, so we need the Chromebooks for additional students, and then we'll move some down into the lower grades. It's a good problem to have, continuing to grow. We sent out proof of residence letters, basically just contact information to each family. Two of you probably received those. If you received them at your address, then you just said that's the correct information and went on. If you didn't and it came back to us, then we checked some addresses. So we had some cleanup of addresses and enrollment this year. And that being said, we're still up 200 students. So expect
Are
it to
other
continue.
systems in the region seeing growth like that, or is that
Kingsport's seeing some growth.
But not like ours.
Not like ours, not quite. It's hard to tell, you know. We'll have our numbers really solid next week, but Science Hill's a legit 2,400 student school right now.
What about the other schools? What percent of
You know, middle
capacity
schools,
do they have?
we created that space at the middles, which is great. With the elementary schools, we have some ESSER-funded teachers that money will roll off, which will create a little bit more space at the elementaries for now. But we're going to definitely need space at the elementary, and then continue to look at what's going on at the high school with that kind of growth. It's good growth, it's healthy growth. But you know, we talked about it a few years ago. We were growing about 100 students a year. This is probably some recovery from the pandemic, but also things like homeschool we were at about 120 homeschool students. We're down to 85. So we have some families we believe have come back into the district, and looking forward to the opportunity when it comes to be able to replace Town Acres, and then obviously having to look at another elementary school possibly. But we have opened up some room at the two middles. We're around 820 and right under 900.
So
Those two schools.
2,400 at Science Hill. What is the number at Science Hill where you start to think it's?
We're starting to think about what do we do. You know, there are options that are not ideal, like having teachers use rooms where they go in and they plan in the planning area and then they share space. It's really more ideal for them to be able to set up a classroom and use that. But that's what happens with growth in a lot of schools. You have to share your classrooms with other teachers, and that's happened even in the elementary schools for us before. And we would like to avoid that. So we'll know in the next, I think we'll know second semester, do we continue to have that growth, or do we, sometimes school systems, you see a little bit of a decline second semester, and we'll see how that goes.
I've seen school systems invest in those modular units outside of buildings.
And we're going to have a discussion.
And,
not that I'm open to that, but
Mr. Murphy, that's one of those words we
Johnny
try
and
not
I've been
to
on the
use.
school board. That's one thing we got rid
That's
of, right?
A. Murphy at JohnsonCityTN.
I was going to say, I hope we don't.
That's a good response.
You know, I had lunch at Science Hill today with a bunch of high school students. I just bounce around and talk to them, and they're great to be around. I think sometimes people will look at schools and you'll see the negative advertisements and different things for online learning I've noticed lately, but a bunch of great kids, great students, teachers, great attitudes. We've worked really hard on data the last few weeks, just looking at how are we serving our students, and teachers are really involved in that, and I can't say enough about the work that they do and our supervisors and principals do to make sure that we're trying to do our very, very best to make sure that we care for all of our students.
I think, you know, we're talking about how big is enough at the high school
Sure.
now, but we're looking at probably a lot more growth than what we're talking about tonight. So we came over and visited with the school board a few weeks ago to really look at a master plan for our school system, and I think we have to be really diligent and continue that effort, because it's going to be upon us before we know it.
We're working on the RFQ now, and that was my next comment was going to be, we're going to find out a lot with that in the growth study that's going to occur. I think those two things combined will really help guide what we do, hopefully what we're able to do the next few years.
Are we in all the classrooms that were recently constructed?
We are not. There's some space at Woodland, there's some space at Lake Ridge. We are very crowded there now, but that is because we have 8 new classrooms that haven't come online, and with the new HVAC system coming in, at the end of the year, going into next year, that school should have some space available.
But these aren't ready idled space. These
They
are
are
just
not. These are being
fully
built.
yet. Okay.
That's right. So they are making use of every space, and school staff have been wonderful, and the faculty and community over at Lake Ridge have done a great job taking care of each other, making sure that it's doable and that students are learning.
Well, I have one final comment, and I promise I'll be quiet. I think one of the best decisions that's been made in a long time was the 2 middle schools. And last night, I was at Indian Trail for the girls' soccer match with Liberty Bell. And so now you've got 2 middle schools who have their own teams, who can really progress and get the full benefit of being able to, know what playing on a team is all like, is like. So I can tell you the rivalry has begun, and Indian Trail won. That's where my granddaughter plays on that team. So, but it was great, and it was packed.
It was
with
amazing.
parents
I was
out
there for the
Were
second
you?
half,
I
and
missed you.
it's great. The thing that comes to my mind, middle schools for developing, giving students opportunities to develop and grow. That's what it is. It's we may not win as many games as for middle schools, but we're having twice as many students out there participating.
Yep.
And it was great to see them participate, the way the coaches interact with each other and the players. They'll join back together at Science Hill and be friends, and I think we'll all be better for it.
It was a pretty good soccer, too.
It was. Good. It was fun.
Well, thank you, Dr. Burnett.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Make a motion on the consent.
Yes, looking for a motion on the consent.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second. Okay. We have a motion and a second. If there's not further discussion, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Weiss?
Yes.
Commission, your next order of business is the consideration of approval of a resolution to adopt a new flag for the city of Johnson City, Tennessee. And we have J.T. McSpadden here to do a presentation on this item.
Hello. So we've learned a lot, including the meaning of the word vexillological. This is how we describe the folks who are dedicated to the study and knowledge of flags. And in the process of talking to the folks involved with our Public Arts Committee, as well as us in the Communications and Marketing Group, we had already determined that we'd like to update our flag, and they had the same idea themselves, and were kind enough to share a video with us that I'm going to share a snippet of.
There's a bunch of really great country flags, but they obey good design principles because the stakes are high on the international stage. But city, state, and regional flags are another story. There is a scourge of bad flags, and they must be stopped. That is the truth, and that is the dare. The first step is to recognize that we have a problem. A lot of people tend to think that good design is just a matter of taste. And quite honestly, sometimes it is, actually. But sometimes it isn't, all right? Here's the full list of NAPA flag design principles.
The 5 basic principles of flag design. Number 1.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Number 2.
Use meaningful symbolism.
Number 3.
Use 2 to 3 basic colors.
Number 4.
No lettering seals.
Never use writing of any kind.
Because you can't read that at a distance.
Number 5.
And be distinctive.
All the best flags tend to stick to these principles.
So when we look at those principles of design, unfortunately, the flag that we currently have falls squarely outside of them and to be fair, I was the one that put our flag on his examples there, so we at least haven't attracted international attention with our flag. But in seeing that, we actually were saved from making a grave mistake, which is to create an SOB that they call it, which is a seal on a bed sheet. And that was actually what we were about to do. So I was very thankful that we had the fortune of getting that video in time to save us from making that egregious mistake. But in getting those principles, we set forth on coming up with a design, and this is it. So with this design, the thing that is most prominent within the principles, I mean, it does follow all of them in terms of being easily recognizable, limited colors, it's very unique, but it also is very symbolic for a lot of reasons for our community in terms of our history, our present, and our future. And so in looking at it, you can see that if you'll imagine that the yellow is actually a trail leading forward, but that trail sets between the two green lines, which are representative of the rails for the railroad that our city was founded next to by Henry Johnson. And the colors are significant in that the yellow is symbolizing optimism and originality, which is very fitting for the eternal hope and tenacity of our community's entrepreneurial spirit. We are nothing if not a community of entrepreneurs. The green rails, the green symbolizes prosperity, stability, growth, and environmental stewardship. I think we can all agree those are at the top of our priorities here. And they converge off to the horizon and point us towards a future just underneath an elevated star. And those three stars are representative of a number of things here. First and foremost, with our seal, they kind of harken back to the mountain and stars element there, so it ties it there. But also pays tribute to Leroy Reeves and his design of the Tennessee state flag and the Tri-Star. Also recognizing the Tri-Cities, that we're all here together as a cohesive whole. And the blue sky surrounding them is symbolizing trustworthiness and security, while the white of the stars is symbolizing unity, which is fitting for the Tri-Cities, I think, for sure. So I guess also the green and the yellow are also paying tribute to the flag that we're proposing to retire. So we're really kind of doing our best to honor everything that's come before us, everything that we stand for now, and everything that we aspire to be in the future. And at the same time, it's a good flag design. So, or it's rumored to be anyway. There, I put the words in your mouth.
So if you could put the slide back.
Yes.
That slide is not good flag design. It has way too many words on it.
Oh. Is that better?
Yeah, that's way better.
Okay, great.
I just want to acknowledge the public art folks who really were the impetus to this conversation. It really goes back to an effort that was several years in the making around evaluating the city's brands and logos and icons and images and those sorts of symbols. And a flag stands apart from that. It's a little different. But this was a logical outgrowth of that. This shouldn't be conflated with branding and logos as a flag. That's very different. But clearly the symbols and the stories that you tell about yourself through those symbols as a community are important to shaping who you are and who you might become. And so I'm pleased with this flag, and I've had several people make very positive comments, and I just want you to know that. I did not know the word vexology, but now I do.
It's vexing.
It is vexing. And there's been a person or two that's wondered, well, why we didn't submit it to a vote or a committee, and that's because that's not how flags are done. Betsy Ross didn't, vet her flag with the colonists. She developed the flag and it was adopted. And so I think in the same way we did it with the branding, you develop something and you really work to use best practices, bring forth what that product looks like, and let it stand on its merits. And so I'm quite excited to see this proposed tonight, and it's a little bit out of the ordinary, but I'm going to deviate as the chair and make a motion for its approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I think we all will second it. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, may the record reflect there were 3 seconds. So.
And just a comment as well, JT, I know you are born and raised here in Johnson City. This
Yes, ma'am.
is your home, and you shared with us earlier today about how much you love your city. I think the message in what you have created here, and I want everybody to know this was created in-house by you. And I think just your historical knowledge of the city is reflected in this flag, but also the aspirational message that this flag sends to everybody. And so I'm just really looking forward to us being able to share the message behind the flag to all of our citizens, and that it can be a banner for us as well on how we lead ourselves, into the future. But I just want to personally thank you for what you have done.
Thank you very much.
JT, you did a great job, and it's really well thought out as to the meaning behind it. It's not just a design. It's really got feeling and input of thought behind
Well,
it.
I mean, even Charlie Stahl likes it.
It's true.
I really appreciate those words. It means a lot to me. I hope that this is something that can endure and have lasting meaning and be something that we can rally behind and help bring us together even more.
Well, the last flag lasted from 1964 until now, but a lot of people didn't even know we had a flag. But you can think at least 50 years from now, your flag's going to be flying.
We'll start the stopwatch.
Well, there's a motion and 3 seconds. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, JT.
Thank you.
And we
Good
need
job.
stickers?
Yes. All right, thank you. Ms. Ball, is there anything else on the agenda?
There is no other items on the agenda.
All right, I
Mayor.
called on Commissioner Murphy first the last time. Commissioner Hunter, do you have anything you'd like to share with the commission?
The only thing I would mention is that the Kings Mountain Post 24 of the American Legion here in Johnson City are going to have a remembrance ceremony on September 10th at 8:30 at the Memorial Park Community Center in remembrance of September 11th.
The amphitheater outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be this coming, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday.
Correct.
So, thank you. Commissioner Brock?
Just really thanking the Convention and Visitors Bureau, CVB, for pulling off Meet the Mountains. They literally had 3 months to organize that event, and it was attended by thousands of people who really were all having a good time. So I want to thank them personally. We have coming up, next event is likely to be Emoja, which will be downtown, but, and then, of course, the Science Hill Alumni Reunion coming up on the 23rd.
Pretty soon it'll be Christmas trees.
Pretty soon it'll be Christmas trees.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Meet the Mountains festivities. Watching those dogs jump was worth the trip. I wanted to echo Commissioner Brock, but about Umoja's festival will be next Saturday, September 10th at King Commons. I'm not sure about the time, but I also know there is an open house at the Langston Center on Friday, September 9th at 5 p.m. All are welcome to attend.
Thank you. I have nothing further, and so with that, we'll stand adjourned.